even I don't know, keep us from away from them, with some kind of a shield or something. And the fact that there seem to be multiple sightings of Bigfoot along with UFOs. And I've spoken with with Ron Moorhead about that whole situation as well. He's another Bigfooter, and he thinks that there's definitely some correlation between UFOs and Bigfoot because of the multiple sightings of them in close proximity to one another.
And, that brings up the excellent point, because the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is actually training with FMP, and a lot of our training is going to be, being in the heart of the Cascades. Here, most of our team is up here in Concrete, Cedar Woolley, Darrington. So we're in the heart of the Cascades, in the heart of the mountain. There's a whole lot of mystery that goes on in the mountains, besides Bigfoot and UFOs, and we plan on using spirit boxes actually in the middle of nowhere and seeing what we pick up.
That's an interesting idea. I hadn't thought of that before.
Oh, most definitely, because a lot of Fae, anyone that's new to S-4, we do talk a lot about Fae. We talk a lot about demons. We talk about a lot of the darker side of the paranormal, essentially, and a lot of UFO alien abduction, along with all that. Now, there is correlation into this team. Paranormal is the whole umbrella. It's not just, you go up to the common person and ask them what paranormal is, they automatically jump on ghosts and spirits. Well, it's a whole lot more than that. So we're going to be hitting up a lot of training on wilderness survival and emergency response, ICS, because what we are is an emergency response team. I've already said that. But if you look at the way natural disasters are reacted to with the incident command system, is pretty much the same way we set up. As far as response, as far as the command structure goes, is very similar. So we're doing a lot more this year, Bigfoot and UFO investigation in mountain terrain. And being as probably about half the team is all prior military, it fits right in. So we're going to research in various off-world races and their interaction with Earth and the human race. So on this show, what we call, what a lot of people call aliens, we call off-world, because that's what they are. You have every once in a while you'll have an off-world race that's not planetary, they're interdimensional. And we'll go into a lot of all that. By the way, you can find our a lot of our archives both on Spreaker and on the YouTube channel. We're going to be discussing biology of specific cryptids and off-world races, a deep understanding of specific theories in relation to the 2017-2022 window and any truth within them and how to prepare for it. So let's talk about that for a sec. Did you ever have a chance to find out about the 2017-2022 window, Megan?
Basically, things off-world are going to start heating up and affecting Earth. There's going to be a visitation that was predicted or promised by an alien race in 2022, is what I've uncovered through my research.
So, if you look at for a lot of the new listeners, if you can find forest-moon-paranormal, by the way, on Facebook. You'll just look for forest-moon-paranormal. You'll find the group. Join the group, because in our library we actually have the Alien Races book, which was translated by Dante Santori. And according to what he uncovered through the KGB years ago, there's a 2017 to 2022 window in which there are many off-world races that are actually at war with each other, and we're in the crossfire of it. You can see that through many different YouTube channels. Now, I don't like YouTube videos for the simple fact that anybody can make a CGI video and say, oh my God, look at that. And it's nothing more than CGI. So if you look at a YouTube video, do some research on it and see if there's other sources that actually talk about the same video that aren't connected. That's how you kind of rule between what might be true and what might not be. So, with the 2017-22 window, which we're in 2019 now, 3 more years, and we'll see what's going to happen. There's supposed to be an alien war that the human race has nothing to do with, and you can, were the lights in New York part of that? Possibly. I don't think it was just a simple transformer blowing up. What do you think, Michael?
Well, I think you're right. I think you're right on here.
What was your perception of that?
My perception was that it brought up a lot more questions than it did answers. When they said it was a Con Edison power plant that blew up, boy, I tell you what, there were a whole lot of homegrown videos of this event that looked a lot more diffuse than a fire in one location. Matter of fact, I've seen the videos of a fire, supposedly that they said was the aftermath of this explosion at Con Edison in New York City, which is their electric utility, by the way, if some people aren't from the East Coast. But the other dash cams and video recordings that were going on at the same time, you're talking the Big Apple. You're talking, millions and millions of people that are out and about. And, of course, if everybody knows about New York, it's never sleeping. There's always somebody available to record something on tape. All of those recordings don't seem to be very kind of localized in one area. They seem to be like lighting up the entire night sky with different colors and things. So I'm just wondering if indeed there was either, like you said, some kind of a conflict going on that we don't know about, or whether it was some kind of a cover-up that happened in that area that they needed to pin on some kind of a thing. And, of course, that would be one of the easiest things to pin it on, would be some kind of an electrical surge or power outage or something like that.
And yet nobody in New York, from what I understand from the folks I talked to in New York, lost any power.
Yeah. Now, there you go. And you would think there would be some injuries, local injuries anyway, in some places around that fire that was there. If indeed there was a building involved, and you don't find very many uninhabited buildings in New York City, even Con Edison buildings. So it's a little suspicious for sure.
And we've had this talk. I think, wasn't it you and I, Megan, and maybe Cole, that were talking that the color of the discharge that was seen was not a common electrical discharge color. It was a different hue.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just a different hue. It's the fact that when electricity explodes like that, it creates many different hues. It goes through different reactions of color.
Mm-hmm.
And this stayed bright baby blue. There was no other colors involved.
No, and you want to talk about power, and real quick. Next week we'll be actually, because on S-4 we also talk about disaster preparation, and so next week we're actually talking about winter preparation, because of the fact that we've already lost 4 days of power back in December, and we've already lost a day of power this month, and we're expecting another heavy windstorm in tonight. So we're kind of holding our breath whether we can even do the show tonight, which is important. But when you're talking about power lines going down, transformers blowing up, that wasn't the color that was seen in the videos in New York. Something else was going on that one.
Yeah, I had a transformer explode right outside my house a couple years ago, and it arced green, and then the actual casing of the transformer caught fire, and then it was just, the flickering orange and, the yellow and normal fire colors. There was no blue. Mm-hmm. And I'm scrolling through the images right now, and I just cannot believe almost every single photo has the same color blue, no matter what kind of device they took it with. It's that eerie, really supercharged blue.
Yeah. So, and this stuff's been going on. I mean, you can look through the YouTube channels and you'll hear about the strange noises that are being heard, across the globe. Sound like a trumpet noise. Some people say that's the structure of buildings and the wind going through it. No, I don't think so.
I know what that is.
You know what that is?
Yeah. Okay. So the F-35, it has psychological warfare capabilities through noise, and when it makes a certain a bank turn, the wind goes over it in such a manner that it does sound like trumpets of God.
And goodness.
Yeah. And actually, I spoke with our friend Dave Scott about it not too long ago, and I sent him a YouTube link because it is always associated around water, over water, or near some type of military installation. And so a group of paranormal investigators decided to go and hunt this thing down, and they were very disappointed that it was, in fact, an F-35.
I'm disappointed now.
I'm sorry?
Oh, no, that's funny. I'd rather get to the bottom of it,
Yeah, but it's psychological warfare, and if you were to hear the clip on the video, it is exactly... there's a clip that was posted last year to our webpage, FMP, on our Facebook page, and it was heard in Marysville, Everett, and out on the peninsula in Washington State, and a bunch of viewers reported this and said, oh my goodness, the sound's coming from the sky. It's the exact same sound that the JSF-35 makes.
Yeah, and that would be coming from Whidbey Island, more likely.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's great! It's great having an ex-Marine on this panel here. We get to get all this inside scoop.
Oh. Hey, sorry guys. I know what that is. Yeah, psychological warfare through noise.
And that's common, actually.
My kids do that.
Never heard of that one, but
your kids. Yeah. Well, I mean, they use psychological warfare in Waco. With the constant noise bombardment. So it is a thing. So, but yeah, the trumpet noise, that I will share the video.
Can I ask an honest to God stupid question?
Sure. You'll probably get an non-stupid answer. Go ahead.
So, to the two people in the military, that were in the military,
mm-hmm.
The whole thing you see on TV where they start playing like the most annoying songs of the 90s and the 80s, did they actually ever do that?
Yeah, actually they did it in Cuba, and I believe they did it in Iraq with Saddam. Played AC/DC.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Why AC/DC? Who wouldn't like that?
Saddam Hussein, maybe.
Islam.
Oh, come on. You can't hate them.
And I want to clarify, I have nothing against Islam, and I'll get hated for that. Many people do anyway. But you got radicals in every belief system. The ones that are attacking are just the radicals of Islam. You've got radicals here of mainstream religions here. So that wasn't a dig at Islam, but listening to heavy metal to a true Islam, no.
Yeah, that's just not fair. That's good tunes.
It ain't. But yes, and that is a very simple form of psychological warfare as well. Playing obnoxious noises, playing obnoxious music to a culture that doesn't believe in obnoxious music, for example. What we see as awesome heavy metal is obnoxious to some cultures.
Hey, before we get off the subject of this New York Con Edison explosion, I have a really interesting correlation to bring up, if I can, regarding that and the Phoenix Lights in Arizona. Let me tell you what I'm looking at when I go through the news, releases on this thing. Do you remember when the Phoenix Lights hit back in 1997?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And the governor, Fife Simon,